With passwords, there's a lot of information about passwords. And one interesting kind of thing is that actually 39% of people use the same password for everything, according to Pew Research. So, for instance, why is that bad? So Sony got hacked a few years ago, right? And what was really interesting was that the incidence of fraud didn't just happen with Sony, but it went up at Target.com, it went up at Amazon.com, it went up kind of across the board, about 35 to 40%. And why is that? Because when one thing is hacked, the people that stole the data actually take all of that information and try to use it online at as many places as they possibly can, because they know that about, a third of people use the same password for everything. So it's really, really important to have a good password. And not only that, it's important to have a different password for each account. So what constitutes a strong password? So a strong password typically is at least 12 characters, and it consists of some uppercase letters, some lowercase letters, some numbers, and some symbols. Now, I know that's going to be a little bit difficult to remember. So typically I recommend using songs or, other things that are familiar with you to remember your passwords. For instance, Don is a big Frank Sinatra fan. So, one of his passwords might use the phrase, fly me to the moon, then adding a symbol and some numbers, things like that. So, make sure that your passwords that you have to remember are, something that's easy for you to remember, but maybe not necessarily can be intuited. Now, the average American has over 120 passwords. So I know you're saying now, Stacey, you're expecting me to remember, 12 characters, uppercase, lowercase, number, symbols, and not only that, you're expecting to remember 120 of them. So I'm not. One thing that we do recommend is a password manager. So a password manager, you only have to remember one password to get into the password manager. And then you can actually store all 120 of your passwords within the password manager itself. And what's really nice about a password manager is it will help you create passwords that are secure as well. So, when you create a new password, you actually would just click on new, and then it will fill in the password for you if you want it to. Now, some good password manager examples. We've only put on password manager examples here that have not been compromised in the commercial market. There are some other password managers on the market that have been compromised, so they never made this list. They didn't make this list. So some examples are Dashlane, 1Password, Bitwarden, Keeper, and KeePass. And I can tell you that INF and Integrity First Technology Solutions, we all use KeePass. And so you can see here in a password manager, you have your list of passwords. Then you'll have your username and your password. So you just basically go to the place, say you want to go to, your bank, you go to your bank's website, you would double click on your username and then you'd click paste, and it would go right into the browser, and then you would double click on the password, click paste, and then it would sign you in. So you just have to remember that one password to open your password manager, and then you have access to all of your username and passwords for the rest of your day. Now, another thing that kind of goes along with passwords is two-factor authentication, or you might have seen it 2FA. So what two-factor authentication is it's an extra layer of security that actually would have helped all those people that had the same password for everything. So not only do you have to enter your username and password, but then there's an extra step. And I'm sure you've all seen this, with your bank or other things. So what they'll do is you'll put in your username and password, and then they'll say, do you want to receive a phone call, a text message, or an email with your one-time verification code? So then they will send you your verification code, just like is shown in this picture, and you would put the verification code in, and then you can sign in to your account. So we definitely recommend turning this on when you're given the opportunity to do so, because it really is a very strong extra layer of protection, and it protects your accounts from hacks against, if a company were to get hacked, they would get your username and password, but they wouldn't get access to your two-factor authentication. They wouldn't get access to your phone or your email. So this would definitely help protect your account from any hack that happened. All right, let's see what Kevin Mitnick has to say. Companies spend millions of dollars on firewalls, encryption, and secure access devices, and it's money wasted. None of these measures address the weakest link in the security chain. Don, what do you think is the weakest link in the security chain?
You're calling on me now. I would say humans.
You are correct, yes.
Thanks for listening. And remember, I'm Don I, your insurance guy.